Okay, so let me hold on a second here. Let's make sure my volume is on. All right, I don't know what happened, but I guess we're going to have a part 1 and a part 2 of this live. So if you're just tuning in now, look below. Should be a part 1 to where I kind of set the stage on the before and after right now in the transformational industry and what's going on. You want to listen to that probably before you listen to this live, just so that you can get a sense of where we're at in the industry in this moment in time, what kind of frame of mind the community is in, our prospects are in, our clients are in, our clients to be, and why the transformational skills are important. And then I kind of got actually at a great moment, because where I was gonna go next after setting that important stage is to briefly give you some important principles and ideas and techniques to be thinking about, considering, and be using that are going to help you go deep, right? To help you really be one of those practitioners that helps you go deep and really do the transformational work that is required now. I was saying in the first part of this live, all of the rah-rah coaching, all of the cheerleader, all of the, do these 3 steps to get to your result, all of the, just repeat this mantra, that already hasn't been working for quite some time, but especially now with the deeper fears being dredged up, the deeper shadows, and the deeper desires, and all of the structures that are falling away, we need better skills. We need deeper skills. We need more transformational skills. We need, as practitioners, the skills that are going to be able to really help guide our clients through their fears and through their shadows and through their self-sabotage and through their negative thought patterns and through their myth of perfection, and so on and so forth. So here are some things that I want you to consider. Principles, ideas, techniques. Number 1, the difference between a breakthrough and a transformation. Now, this is really important. These 2 terms, breakthrough and transformation, get thrown around a lot in the coaching, healing, transformational industries, and they get interchanged, but they are very different. And understanding the difference between a breakthrough and a transformation is a key to being able to create transformation. Let me break it down for you, and I'd love to hear what you think about this. So a breakthrough is a new awareness, a new piece of information, or a new idea, or a new awareness. Breakthrough, I'm sure if you're listening, you've had a breakthrough before. As practitioners, we absolutely want to have the skills to help support our clients to create breakthroughs and to step into breakthroughs. I want to be really, really clear about this. This is really important. A breakthrough, not a transformation. One is not the other. Transformation, which is in sacred depths, this is what we're ultimately going for, is transformation, is real, true, and long-lasting change. A breakthrough is not real and long-lasting change. A breakthrough is a new piece of awareness. Now, when we help clients breakthrough or a series of breakthroughs, and then we have, it looks like I might still be live. Okay, so when we take a breakthrough or a series of breakthroughs, this new piece of awareness, and then we have the skills to go beyond that, to apply the breakthroughs persistently and consistently, that's when we can support clients to create the real transformation. When we don't have the skills to do this, what happens is we end up with our clients who maybe in a session have a great new awareness, a great breakthrough, a great new understanding of something, which again is wonderful. We want that, but then they don't do anything with it. They don't actually create the change that they want in their lives. They don't pattern being. They don't move out of their self-sabotage activity. You know, their shadow still gets them every. All the breakthroughs in the world aren't enough for the transformation, right? We need the specific tools to be able to take the breakthrough to the next and the honestly way more courageous and difficult level of the transformation. So take a moment and think about this. How often have you been able to take your own breakthroughs, like with yourself first, and know how to apply them consistently to create real change, real transformation for yourself? Are you in your own inner work just stopping at the breakthrough, or are you following through to the transformation? And if you want to post or comment about that, I'd love to hear. Or if that's even if this concept is resonating for you. And then also, if you're working with clients, what about with your client work? My guess is that if you're tuning in, you are pretty good at creating breakthroughs, right? Usually people that connect in with my teachings, they're already pretty awesome. You probably know some ways to create breakthroughs. Are your clients moving into the real and long-lasting transformation? Just good to note that for yourself, right? And when have you fallen into the false thinking that real transformation is a one-shot deal, that it should happen in an instant, right? This is I'll get on my soapbox for a moment about the transformational industry, is that, you know, it's like all of the marketing is like, this is going to happen so fast. You know, I'm going to make you a millionaire overnight. You're going to lose 30 pounds in a week, you know, all the things. And so we've become conditioned to think that transformation happens in an instant, that it's a one-shot deal, right? But that's not true. Real transformation is a sacred process, and it is a process, right? So when or how have you fallen into the false thinking that real transformation is a one-shot deal, that it should happen in an instant? And how has that impacted you? How has that impacted your ability to follow through on real growth and change, right? Because when we fall into that thinking that it should happen in an instant, guess what? We usually end up criticizing ourselves, judging ourselves, hating on ourselves, or giving up on the process because we think that we're doing it wrong, right? And how, if you have fallen into that false thinking, how has that impacted your client work? Okay, so there's breakthrough versus transformation. I want to give you a couple of other things to think about, principles, ideas when it comes to transformation, things that I think will be really helpful. The next one is consulting, and you may have heard me talk about this before if you've been following me. Consulting versus holding space for transforming. There's another place I'm going to a little bit get on my soapbox, but this is important if you want to be a really stellar practitioner of transformation. What has happened over the last 10 years in the coaching, the transformational industry, is that practitioners are falling back way too often on consulting, on giving their opinion, in other words, on giving their opinion and sharing their very wise expertise, right? But what's happened is that practitioners too often, when they should be holding the space for transformation, instead they're consulting. They're sharing their wisdom, they're sharing their opinion, they're just telling the client what is. Now, let me be clear, in my work, I do a good amount of consulting. People hire me to share my expertise, for me to share my opinion, for me to share my wisdom, but there's a time and a place for it. For people to truly change habits, patterns, to overcome fears, to be able to harness their shadows, all of the things, just sharing your expertise isn't enough. But what's happened is that practitioners are moving away from the real holding space for the transformation and instead consulting. And then, yeah, their clients have some really good knowledge, right? Good awareness, but they're not changing their habits. They're not moving forward. The transformation isn't happening. Now, it sounds simple enough. And by the way, let me know if you get what I'm talking about right now, if this makes sense to you, right? That consulting gets relied upon more than it should instead of holding space for the transformation. So then the question is why, right? Why does this happen? Why do coaches and practitioners end up consulting when they should be using transformation techniques? Well, the reasons vary, but I want to give you some of the most common ones so that you can see for yourself if any of these are true for you. Number one, sometimes practitioners have discomfort with the learning process itself or fear that the actual transformation process is going to take too long, right? So if you're a practitioner and you go without even realizing into a fear that the transformation process is going to take too long for this client, I need to do it quick, then you're going to end up relying on consulting, right? Oh, good. I'm glad. Andrea, Darren, this makes sense. Okay, good. Sometimes practitioners will consult instead of holding space for transforming because they have a need to sound like a smarty pants, right? Or to impress, which we all want to sound smart and impress, but sometimes that can get in the way. And then we end up sharing our wisdom instead of holding space for transformation. Is that something that's happening for you? Another reason why practitioners consult instead of hold space for transformation is if you have a tendency to take over responsibility for your clients, right? I call it heroing, right? When you become the hero in your mind, then you're going to end up giving your opinion and telling the client what to do and consult instead of using really solid and strong transformational techniques so that they can change. Oh, hi, Nicole. I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, and I'm glad that you're with me on this. Another reason why practitioners end up consulting when they should be using transformation techniques is that they don't trust, even though they think they do, they don't trust that the client always knows best. And this is such an important guiding principle for any kind of transformational work that you're going to do. The client always knows, and the client always knows best. We as experts, as practitioners, may have certain facts or pieces of information that our clients don't yet know. That's when consulting comes in handy for sure. But when we start to think that we know better, what's better for our clients than they do, and even the best of practitioners can fall into this sometimes, which is why I'm pointing this out, because we don't want to fall into it. When we stop trusting that our client knows best, that's when we're going to end up using consulting as a crutch, because we can then control the situation, right? And then one other reason why sometimes practitioners end up consulting when they should be using transformational techniques is just we get too comfortable we're just in that pattern of doing more consulting than coaching or more consulting than holding space for transformation, right? So if you're listening to this and you're noticing this happens for you, I want you to call yourself out, right? And become more aware of it. To just take a moment with all of this. Are there moments where you might be taking shortcuts and just giving clients the answers instead of providing them with the learning opportunity that a transformational technique would provide? Are there moments where you're taking shortcuts? And by the way, no judgment here. I've been there myself, right? But I want you to assess this for yourself so that you can improve and so that you can up-level your skills. And if you are recognizing that you do this, why? Right? Is it one of the reasons why I gave a few moments ago? And I'd love to hear what's coming up for you on this. You can post it in the comment section. Okay, so we have breakthrough versus transformation. We've got consulting versus transformation techniques and holding space for transformation. Let's see, Nicole is saying, yeah, that you fall into it more during group coaching than one-on-one. It's true. I'm glad you're bringing that up because that is common. It's like in the one-on-one, there's the tighter container and we feel like there's more space to allow, right? For the questioning and the skills and for the client to discover on their own. Whereas in the group coaching, we have to be more laser focused. And I'll share, in case this is helpful for you, Nicole, and anyone else, when I do group coaching, I do consult more a little bit than when I'm one-on-one, for sure. Sometimes we just need that for the laser and the purpose of it. But if you notice that that's happening for you, try to catch yourself and see, is this really a moment for consulting, or can I expand the space here and really, for everybody's learning, not just the one person that's asking the question right now, what's the value in actually holding the transformational space versus just giving the answer? Okay, so I've got a couple of other pieces that I want you guys to be thinking about when it comes to transformation. And the next is, it's about your own depth threshold and your own energetics. Like I was saying earlier, we need up-leveled skills to support our clients in transformation. This is for sure with everything that's happened so far this year in 2020. One of the key pieces to this, or one of the next key pieces, is our own depth threshold and our own energetics. So what I mean by this is, quite simply, you can't take a client or a group of clients anywhere that you haven't gone yourself. If you want to go deeper with clients, if you want to hold more transformational space, if you want to be able to use the transformational techniques and skills and have them really work, it must start with you, period. It starts with you doing your own soul work, with you looking at your own blocks. And this isn't for the faint of heart, right? Like, let's just be honest. This is real hard work. It is. The soul work is not rah-rah, right? Practitioners who can really hold space for transformation, they've faced their own shadows. They've befriended their own fears. They've worked to take themselves off of their own wheels of self-sabotage. They've poked big holes in their own myths of perfection. They've been willing to experience and embrace their own grief, to really sit with it. They've come face to face with their own anger. They've become advocates of their inner child. They've learned to love even the most unsavory parts of themselves, right? It's not enough to just love the shiny parts of ourselves. If we're going to support clients in loving all of themselves, we have to learn to love all of the parts of ourselves. The most masterful practitioners of transformation have taken a real look at their own projections, their own triggers, their own resistances, their own accountability patterns. They've done the courageous work of setting boundaries, even in the face of fear or disappointing others or breaking family codes. And they've honestly and courageously listened to the longings of their own heart. Like I said earlier, real transformational practitioners know that they can't take their clients anywhere that they haven't themselves been willing to go. This is a rite of passage, right? Being willing to do the work on yourself and for yourself, to really doing the soul work. And I want to be clear on this. There's no myth of perfection here. I have not harnessed all of my shadows. I have not befriended all of my fears. I still get triggered sometimes, right? All the things. I don't want you for a moment to think that this is about perfection, right? Because it is not for us and not for our clients, but it is about being in process with it. It is about watching it, right? And doing the work with it. We're never going to be perfect human beings because there is no such thing. That's just for the gods. But we need to be in the process. So this is really important. In order to go deep, with clients, you need to go deep with yourself. Because when you haven't done the work, when you haven't cleaned up your own triggers, when you haven't made friends with your own fears, when you haven't checked your own filters and your own beliefs and biases and privilege, when you haven't brought your own shadows out into the light, when you haven't worked through your own resistance, your client literally feels it. There's something off. And the environment for your client to go deep, to be willing to face the true transformation and to do it safely just isn't set up. When your energetics are off, things stay on the surface level. Or worse, there's confusion in the container with your client, or clients get triggered or pissed off or become deeply disengaged. When your energetics are off, you also run the risk of shaming your client or spiritually bypassing your client or leading your client down misaligned paths because in your head, you're so busy feeling bad about your work or needing to look good that you look for quick fixes. When your energetics are off, maybe you even get intimidated by your client, or you're scared that your client is going to judge you or get angry by something that you say or suggest. And then you take over responsibility, or you just incessantly beat yourself up after sessions, which drains your energy, right? I always say energy follows energy. And what that means when we're holding space for our clients is that if we, as the practitioner, are going to places of judging ourselves or judging our clients or into our shadows or into our fears, energy follows energy. That's where we're going to go with our clients. So we want to be working on this. This is one of the biggest reasons why in Sacred Depths, I don't only teach transformational skills. I teach dozens of transformational skills. You learn them, you master them, but we also do deep inner work. You have to do the deep inner work. If you don't, the skills, honestly, the skills and the techniques for transformation, they don't work. They just don't work. If you're not working on yourself, if you're not working with the energetics. I feel like there is a question. I just want to see if I can find it. Maybe not. Okay, so let's keep on going. So far we have breakthrough versus transformation, consulting versus holding space for transformation, depth, threshold, and energetics. I want to also talk about the 4 levels of learning and processing. This is another really important and big transformational tool, transformational skill that not enough practitioners understand or have thought about, but it's so important when you want to create change with clients. So there are not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 levels of learning and processing that you want to touch on when you're supporting a client to move from that breakthrough that we were talking about before, from that new awareness to the transformation, to the real and long-lasting change. Most practitioners usually just focus on 1 level of learning and transformation, which is, I call it the mental level of learning and transformation, right? The intellectual. It's what we perceive cognitively. Now that's important, right? And we need that for creating awarenesses, the mental level of learning and processing. We want to be able to know how to ask the breakthrough questions, so on and so forth, so that our clients get activated on the intellectual level, on the mental level. But there's 3 other levels that we want to take into consideration when we're working with clients. The next one is the heart level of learning and transformation. So it's one thing to understand the new awareness intellectually, but it's another thing to feel the emotions that need to be felt around it, right? In our hearts. You want to have transformation skills that touch into the emotional, to the heart level of learning and transformation. Without those skills, your client isn't going to fully cycle through the emotions that they need to cycle through in order to be willing to take action on the breakthrough to create the transformation. Let me know if that makes sense, right? They need to feel the emotion. They need for their hearts to be connected in, not just their minds. Okay, it looks like some of you get it. Good. So you want skills in place to activate the heart level of learning and transformation, the emotional level, but you don't want to stop there. From there, you want to touch in and activate and help clients connect with what I call the spirit level of learning and transformation. Now, I promise you this isn't a woo-woo thing, so just bear with me for a moment. When I say the spirit level of learning and transformation, this is what I mean. In order for a client to be motivated to change, to be inspired to change, and to trust that they can change, they need to trust that there is something bigger than themselves that is holding space, that there's a guiding wisdom, and they need to connect into that guiding wisdom. So something bigger than themselves could be God or spirit, it could be earth, it could be their higher power, their inner wisdom, right? Whatever it is, or the truth, right? Truth with a capital T. But without the spirit level of learning and transformation, there isn't enough trust cultivated on the part of the client to be willing to take the risk, to leave the old structures behind, the old narrative, the old belief, whatever it is, and to take action through the mystery, through the unknown, in that liminal space that we were talking about earlier, into the new. So you want skills and strategies and techniques to activate the spirit level of learning and transformation. And then finally, the 4th level is the body level. You probably guessed by now, right? The body level. So as human beings, one of the ways that we learn best, that we create change best, is to have a lived experience of the new belief, idea, experience, narrative, action, energy, archetypal energy, whatever it is that we're going for. Our bodies are amazing, as you probably know. And one of the amazing things about our bodies is that we make body memories. We store memories in our body of who we are becoming. And then those body memories, like in the soma, they become resources for us to help us create the change. So, one way to think about this is think about little kids, right? When little kids are learning something new, one of the ways they learn themselves into their growth, into something new is by acting it out, right? That's one way of activating the body level of learning and transformation. They play house, they play teacher, they play store, they play family, whatever it is, right? when they do that, literally, it is an intuitive process of growing into the new. So as transformational practitioners, we want the skills and the techniques for adults to know how to activate for adults this body level of learning and transformation. And then when we can move through all the 4 levels, the mental level, the heart emotional level, the spirit level, and the body level, that's when we can get to more of that long-lasting change, to more of that long-lasting transformation. Okay, I've been talking for a long time now. I want to just mention one other tool that I can't not. So I'll try to be brief, but I just really want you to know about this and get this, which is, another one of the important, absolutely important tools for transformation that we need, especially in this 2.0, 4.0, 5.0 that I've been talking about, in this liminal space into the after. In the climate right now, is we need to know how to support our clients to befriend their fear. And I'm just going to talk about this briefly for a moment. It's so big. We look at this a lot in Sacred Depths, as we do all of the things that I'm talking about today. But there's this kind of conception in the transformational industry. Again, I'm on my soapbox, but it's for an important reason here. You'll see in the transformational industry, we see a lot of slay your fear, destroy your fear, get rid of your fear, right? And we make fear the enemy. We make it something that needs to be destroyed, slain, run away from, broken, all the things. And that is not, in my experience, that is not a helpful way of understanding fear, not for ourselves and not for our clients. As transformational practitioners, we want skills not to help our clients slay their fears, but to help our clients make friends with their fear. This is subtle, but it's really important. When we try to slay, destroy, whatever it is, our fears, run away from our fears, you know what happens. The fears just get bigger. Right? It's like they can feel, because they have a life of their own. They're there for a reason and a purpose. And the fears can feel that they're being hunted down, right? And wanting to be destroyed. And so they get bigger. They get trickier. They get more persistent. They get slyer. And then our clients just end up being more and more stuck. They've used all of this fire, anger, energy to slay the fear, but they just get stuck there. Instead, we want to support our clients to learn how to make friends with their fear. I have a whole process for this that I teach in Sacred Depths that uses all 4 levels of learning and transformation that I was just talking about. When we can support our clients to make friends with their fears, that's when the fears start to get smaller. That's when the fears start to become assets and resources. Okay, so I know I've given you a lot of information to think about today, and there's so many more principles we could talk about, but I won't keep you forever. My guess is that if you're tuning in to this Facebook Live, that you're someone who, like me, is committed to deeply supporting others in transformation, and also that you're committed to your own lifelong learning, to becoming more and more and more masterful as a practitioner, and to going as far as you can to create phenomenal and extraordinary results with your clients. And my guess is that it's probably not enough for you to leave things at status quo with clients, that you truly desire and know that you're meant to be the type of practitioner who cuts through limiting beliefs with clients, who helps them become friends with their fears, who knows how to support them to harness their shadows, and knows exactly how to support them through their stickiest blocks and obstacles. And as I've mentioned before, this is what I'm committed to. I've dedicated my career to training and mentoring whip smart, soulful, intuitive, and in integrity. All of this is important to be in integrity practitioners on how to do all of this. And as I said earlier, what I've found in my own practice, as well as in those that I train over periods of time, is that when we have these depth skills, when we have these transformational skills, when we can really help our clients in these ways, not only do we get to make a bigger impact with our clients and in the world, which of course we want, that's the main point, but it helps us grow our businesses in powerful ways. Marketing is important. I will not pretend that I don't market. Of course I do. But marketing is pretty much useless if you're not able to really help your clients and stand by the promises that you make in your marketing. When you have these transformational skills, that's when you spend less time marketing because clients re-sign with you and they send referrals. And that's when you have more confidence in your marketing, which makes it stronger. You have more confidence in it because you know you can stand by the promises that you're making. So all of this is to say, and I just devote a couple minutes to this right now. If you would like to go further and really do the deep soul work required to be an exceptional transformational leader, and really learn the skills and the techniques to become a practitioner of depth and transformation,